Before the iPhone, Apple was a computer company that made a cool little music player. But somewhere between 2001 and 2007, they made a pivot so quiet, so deliberate, that most people didn't even see it coming. That pivot turned Apple into a trillion-dollar company. And today I'm going to show you how. Let's go back. October 2001, Apple releases the first iPod. It held 1,000 songs, had a mechanical scroll wheel, and cost $399. Most people thought it was too expensive, too niche. Steve Jobs called it a Mac for your pocket. But here's the thing, it wasn't a Mac, it was simpler, faster, and it just worked. By 2004, iPod sales were exploding. Apple sold over 4 million units that year alone. Then came the iPod mini, the iPod nano, the iPod shuffle, each one smaller, cheaper, and easier to use. Apple wasn't just selling music players anymore, they were selling an experience. And that experience was built on one thing: simplicity. But Steve Jobs saw a problem. Every year, more people carried two devices, a phone for calls and an iPod for music. That worked in 2004. But by 2005, camera phones were getting better, mobile data was getting faster, and Jobs realized something terrifying. If phone makers added music playback, the iPod would die. In 2005, Apple actually partnered with Motorola to make the ROKR, an iTunes compatible phone. It was terrible, slow, ugly, held only 100 songs. Jobs reportedly hated it. And that failure was a wake-up call. Apple realized if anyone was going to kill the iPod, it should be Apple itself. In 2005, Apple started Project Purple, a secret team working on a tablet with a multi-touch screen. That tablet eventually became the iPhone. But here's the pivot most people miss. Apple didn't start with a phone. They started with a touchscreen iPod. Then they realized adding phone features would cannibalize iPod sales. Steve Jobs famously said, "If you don't cannibalize yourself, someone else will." So Apple made the choice. They killed the iPod's future to build the iPhone's present. That took guts, because in 2006, the iPod was 40% of Apple's revenue. The iPhone was a gamble. January 2007, the iPhone launches. No physical keyboard, no removable battery, no apps at launch. Critics hated it. But within 3 years, the iPhone outsold the iPod. By 2014, Apple discontinued the iPod Classic. The last iPod, the Touch, died in 2022. Today, the iPhone makes up over 50% of Apple's revenue. The iPod is a museum piece, but without the iPod, there is no iPhone. The iPod taught Apple how to make small, simple, beautiful devices. The iPhone just finished the lesson. So here's the question for you. What's today's iPod? What product is Apple selling right now that they're quietly planning to replace? My money's on the Apple Watch, or maybe the iPhone itself. One day, something will eat it. And Apple probably already has that something in a secret lab somewhere. That's the pivot that changed everything, from music in your pocket to the world in your hand. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.